10 Cloverfield Lane came about when we got this spec script. It was like a Twilight Zone idea, and I think the great stories are great what-if stories. And I think if you said to someone, what if you found yourself trapped in a place and you were told it was really dangerous outside, but then you discovered it was really terrifying inside, what would you do? And that idea I thought was just an incredibly powerful idea, so we began developing that.
The movie opens with Michelle, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She gets into a car accident and wakes up in this underground facility of sorts.
She is tethered to the wall by a chain and has this sort of horrible makeshift knee brace on and has no idea where she is or how she got there. And so as the movie goes on, it all kind of unfolds and you find out that there's this man there who's keeping her there and saying that it's for her own safety because there has been some sort of attack.
There's fallout and she can't leave for years, but she should be thankful because he saved her life. And we are not sure what to think of that, and things spiral out of control from there.
The idea was that this movie was such a tense premise. The entire experience was a little bit of an exercise in sort of pulling, you know, the bow back further and further and further and further. In the third act, we were finally letting, you know, the arrow fly because of the reference to Cloverfield, which is a fairly well-known monster movie, an alien story. We didn't want to present a monster movie the way you might expect. And so the fun of this was that for much of the film, the monster that you're dealing with might be someone human in the room with you. Dan Trachtenberg directed this film in a way that I don't think watching this movie you'd ever think this was his first movie. The way he collaborates with his actors, his crew, with us, he directs with a real confidence.
See?
What happened to them?
They weren't as lucky as you. It's the air, Michelle. That's what happens when you get exposed.
I think what was very unique about it was that it was so much in one character's point of view. We are with one character throughout the whole thing. We never get to see what another character sees without her perspective. And I really wanted people to feel what she is feeling.
When I was first reading the script, I honestly didn't know where it was going from sequence to sequence. There were moments where you're rooting for certain characters and moments where you don't like them and you're afraid of if they're a villain or if they're a hero. You really don't know. And I thought that was really unexpected and interesting and exciting.
Mary has been incredible to watch, and she's so expressive, and you know, there's so much going on behind her eyes, and she's so physical and fun to watch in these moments.
Mary plays this character with an amazing strength, even when she's terrified, even when she is perplexed as to what move to make. And the beauty of that is, I think, along the way, the audience is with her every step.
You really see somebody going through this and reacting in a way that a normal person would. In a lot of these type of movies, I think we've seen kind of the cliche movie version of things, and I think Michelle is very level-headed and very human throughout the whole film.
The role is very quiet. The character actually doesn't speak that much in the movie, so her performance has to be so subtle, and she has to convey so much with just her body and her face and you know, what's going on inside her head.
Okay, please. Please. Please don't hurt me. Please. Just let me go, okay? I won't tell anybody. I promise. Okay, please just let me go. Please.
You need fluids. You were in shock.
What are you gonna do to me?
I'm going to keep you alive.
The thing that was very important for us in looking at who to cast for Howard is that we didn't want him to feel mustache twirly. And someone who at first we might not trust and at first we might think is crazy, but as the story progresses, we might think, maybe he's got a point, maybe we are the crazy ones. John Goodman does that so well. He is so convincing and can say things with such conviction to make you believe what he's saying, and then and the turn of a switch is terrifying, and you have no idea what he is thinking.
To have an actor like John Goodman, who is so seemingly endlessly versatile, so funny, so likable, but playing a guy who is at turns perhaps the most unlikable person you'll know, the most frightening person you might know. To have John Goodman doing that elevates the role.
I've never played a character quite like this before. So close to my actual person. And yeah, so it's interesting. I don't have to do anything. Got a little loose wiring in his head, the character does, so he's overly concerned about being wiped out by forces unknown, and he obsesses with it, and he's a very careful man. We see him initially through Michelle's eyes, and it turns out that he actually ran Michelle off the road for whatever reason. He'd had another girl down here before who was no longer here. You don't know exactly what happened to her, but nothing good. And then it turns out that there are Martians out there. That's what we're calling. That's what I call them.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to scare you. Are you hungry?
Emmett was another tough role, and I think that, you know, Michelle and Howard, we had a good sense of who those characters were from pretty early in the process. Emmett was always kind of in flux, and, you know, once we cast John, I feel like he's really become a singular, unique character, and Howard is the alpha in the bunker, so he has to kind of defer a little bit to him, and he's able to do that, not in a broad way at all, but in a way that really makes sense for the movies.
We also wanted him to bring some of the comic relief to the movie, and he's done an incredible job of that, sort of ad-libbing some things and just bringing his energy to the scenes, and just the look on his face in certain scenes kills me. He's so funny, and his reaction to things, and it's bringing a lot of life to our movie that, you know, just wasn't on the page, to have him be the guy saying those words and sitting in those scenes.
John Gallagher Jr., who is someone I loved in Short Term 12 and Newsroom, he makes it look so easy. But it takes, I think, an incredibly sharp actor to play a character like that and make him as authentic and likable as John does.
I really just related to the idea of somebody trying their darndest to keep up appearances and kind of keep a little bit of brightness and happiness in the face of kind of uncertainty and tragedy and the unknown of what really is going on. And I think he also feels a sense of wanting to make things easier for Mary's character, Michelle. I think sees that this is a very kind of overwhelming and intense environment, and John's character, Howard, is a very intense and overwhelming personality. And I think Emmett, my character, his role is to kind of disarm and comfort Mary's character to a certain extent. On such a personal kind of movie, really, it's rare that you get to do a project like this where it's really just 3 actors the whole time. You know, if you're gonna get stuck in a bunker with a couple people, then Mary Elizabeth Winstead and John Goodman, Dan Trachtenberg, our director, it's not a bad group, really.